right, fellas. Today I've got another banger for you. We are going to be going through all of the upcoming free agents this year. I'm only going through the skill positions though. Ain't no one want to talk about O-line. I got them all pulled up here on a spreadsheet. We're going to be going through some of the quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends, upcoming free agents this year that could sign to, at this point, any team, right? I mean, this is the exciting part of the offseason where we like to dream up things, think that every single player is going to our team and that our team is legitimately going to be a Super Bowl contender. I recently threw together a post and put it on IG, and on there I had a ton of engagement in the first 24 hours. I mean, most of it was hate, but basically everyone thinks they're getting every free agent, so this one should be interesting. Now, of course, I want to start it off right away with the quarterbacks because there's not a ton of quarterback talent in the free agent market, but there's some guys who are going to have very meaningful signings. I mean, look at Daniel Jones. We thought that he was basically nothing. He came over and beat out Anthony Richardson for the job. Anthony Richardson got injured again. But then, of course, Daniel Jones also got injured. So now what seemed like it was going to be a guaranteed free agent signing back in Indianapolis is kind of up in the air. Is Daniel Jones going to be the quarterback that is slated to start for the Colts next season? I think he is. I'm going to keep him in Indiana. Also, I forgot to add that when the season starts and most of these guys have signed, we're going to come back and do another video going over the results of my predictions here. See if I can get, I don't know, half of them right. That would be pretty crazy anyways. If I could get half these guys right, I would be honestly very impressed. It's not an easy task. I mean, they can go anywhere right now. But next up, we got what I think is another easy one, which is Aaron Rodgers. He's either going to retire or he's going to be back in Pittsburgh. Bringing in McCarthy, I mean, it's basically guaranteed that he's retiring or back in Pittsburgh. I think that this is probably the easiest one out of every guy on this list. And now we got Malik Willis, a guy who has been heating up in the free agent market. I mean, he was basically just a backup quarterback, if even that. Some people didn't even think he was that great of a backup. But now we know that he is arguably one of the best backups in the league and could have a shot at actually being a starter this year. He should demand a lot of money in the free agent market this year. And in a year where there's basically only one quarterback coming out of this draft, and I do not care what you say about Ty Simpson. I am wearing an Alabama sweater, but Ty Simpson he's not a first round talent. If someone takes him in the first, it's a mistake. So Malik Willis could be a starter if he goes to a New York or to a Miami, and that's exactly where I got him. I got him going to Miami. He has connections with some of the coaching staff there, and I believe that they're going to bring him in as competition for that starting job against Tua, which, let's be honest, at this point, it's not much of a back and forth kind of thing. Tua seems kind of washed. I mean, if Tua's not playing in the heat, he sucks. Let's just be real. So Malik Willis could be a legitimate starter next year if he's in Miami. I don't know if he's going to be that great. Take a shot on him if you want, but we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Miami is my pick for him, though. And now we got Sam Howell up next. A lot of you guys are probably going to be commenting like, oh, why is he on this list? But Sam Howell, he's still a dog. Don't forget. I've been a big fan of Sam Howell since UNC, and I know no one clicked on this video to watch me talk about Sam Howell, but I think that he could come in and actually be a starter for a team that wants to rebuild and is in a rebuild, and that is the New York Jets. With no Dante Moore, they need a quarterback unless they bring in Kyler Murray, which would be the other option. But if they do want to do a one-year punt, I think Sam Howell is the perfect quarterback. He can sling the ball and get guys paid, but he also is probably not going to do enough to get you like a mid-round pick. He's probably not going to be able to make you the playoffs, but he is enough to be serviceable so your guys aren't always pissed off, and also just good enough to still have a top pick, let's be real. And now moving into, I believe, the biggest name on the entire list, which is George Pickens, coming out of that fantastic season in Dallas. Pickens is a name that a lot of people are saying is going to go to the Bills, is going to re-sign with Dallas. There's so many different places that Pickens is being mocked to right now in free agent markets. Let me see actually where people are thinking he's going to. Let's see the betting market on this. All right, so here we got the next team odds. The Dallas Cowboys are the heavy favorites, followed by New England, the Bills, Commanders, Ravens, and San Francisco, as well as the Chiefs. No one wants to see that. And these top two teams are really the ones that I was going back and forth between, the Cowboys and the Patriots. Ultimately, though, I think that he re-signs with Dallas on a 3-year deal or something like that. He just suits that system so well. We saw him ball out with CeeDee Lamb this year. And maybe this is a biased Cowboys take, but I think that Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are one of the best duos in the entire NFL and just make up a great receiving core. So as long as Dallas can address the defense, this team should be looking better next year. I'm sorry, Bills fans. This is year like 20 of you guys asking for another receiver. It's not going to be Pickens. And now we got Mike Evans. Mr. 1,000 yards, didn't do it this year. Of course, very sad tale, but I think he goes back to Tampa Bay. He's a Buccaneer. He'll probably retire there. I don't think he's got enough juice in the tank to be a big name in free agency, so I think Tampa Bay is just where he's going to stay. And now we have Wan'Dale Robinson, who on IG was a controversial take. I said he was going to Buffalo, and a lot of people didn't like that. I get that he has a similar play style to Shakir, but honestly, Buffalo just needs bodies, and Shakir, really all he can do is catch a screen pass. I mean, let's be real. I think Wanda at least adds a little bit of versatility to that wide receiver core, and just is another body there for Josh Allen to throw to, which he definitely needs. I don't think he's going to be like a super expensive guy in free agency either, which is why I think the Bills make a lot of sense here. I'm still keeping him in Buffalo. I don't care what the comments say. And then we have Deebo Samuel. Originally, I had him going to Baltimore because at the time it looked like Cliff Kingsbury was going to be there, and I thought that might be a gadget guy that he would kind of want to have with Deebo. But it really doesn't look like he is anymore. I mean, we'll see. I think Deebo is another guy who could re-sign in Washington, and that is where I'm going to have him here. I know it's boring a few guys back to back that are just re-signing, besides Wan'Dale, but I think that he does. I mean, Washington as well. They were a dumpster fire this year, and they just need people to catch the ball. Now we have Jauan Jennings out of San Francisco, a little bit of a sleeper. He was, I think, overrated in fantasy, but underrated in real life NFL talk. So it's kind of a interesting name here in free agency. He's a bit of a wild card, could basically go anywhere that needs a receiver. This is a guy I could see going to a Las Vegas, a New England. I have no idea where he's going to go, to be honest. But I'm also going to have him going to Washington. I think Washington just needs more guys to catch the ball, honestly, and that's what Jauan Jennings will be. Another guy who's cheaper so they can still address other needs. But Jauan Jennings, Washington, I think it makes sense, but he can go anywhere, so let me know where you think he's going to go. Then we have Christian Kirk, another guy who is a bit of a sleeper this year. I mean, on Houston, he did pretty solid. I mean, as solid as you can do with CJ Stroud. CJ in the playoffs, that was a painful watch. I don't want to have to relive watching that Patriots Houston game again. But Kirk, I think, is a sucker for pain, so I'm going to have him going to the Jets. Another team that needs bodies. They need guys who can catch the ball. They need guys probably that are a little bit cheaper that they can sign for a couple of years. I mean, they got Garrett Wilson. That's about it. Adonai Mitchell, you can make a case for, but let's be real. He just was a toss-in in that trade, so it's not like he's the biggest name ever. I think Christian Kirk is a guy who fits here, and I don't know. Poor guy. Going to the Jets must be rough. Next up, we have Alec Pierce. And he is a guy who I believe is very underrated. I have him going back to Indianapolis. He's one of those guys who's just very good at what he does. He's a deep threat. He is going to consistently catch those balls. He creates separation. He's fast. Alec Pierce, great all-around player. Going back to Indianapolis is what I see. I think they'll pay him pretty well as well. And then we got Dobbs, another wild card, kind of like Jauan Jennings. This is a red zone magnet, and what team needs red zone magnets more than Carolina, baby? I think that Carolina needs some more targets. They have Tetairoa McMillan, who is also good in the red zone. I mean, I don't think he actually got that many touchdowns. I forget now. But I think that adding Dobbs to this receiving core would help Bryce Young a ton, and it would also free up Tetairoa McMillan to be a better player. It's essentially what they need. They need a guy who's not going to threaten the role of McMillan, but is also going to still add to the receiving core, giving him some more space, being a guy who can get touchdowns. And I think Dobbs fits in the Carolina system. A lot of people think he's going back to Green Bay. I kind of doubt it, though. I think that he will get more money in the open market. And then we got Rashid Shaheed going to the Super Bowl. I think that there is no way that he leaves Seattle after this. Going to the Super Bowl is a big thing, especially after being traded from New Orleans, which is a big switch up. And being that guy who is not only a deep receiver who they can scheme like they did in the NFC Championship game, but he's also a guy who is great on special teams. They're going to want him back. I think they should re-sign him, and I think he will resign. And now we have Breece Hall. Breece Hall is a wild card as well. He's one of the biggest names in free agency for the skill position players. And he's a guy that we know has a lot of talent, but has been trapped in New York. I have no idea where to put him, to be honest. I originally had him going back to New York because sometimes I think that he might just chase a bag. But now that I'm really thinking about it, I don't know how much he would want to go back to New York. Would you want to go back to New York, just waste away your career like that? So I think that this is a guy who could go anywhere, but I am actually going to put him in Kansas City. I think that they won't draft Jeremiah Love and will go Breece Hall, or they will do the opposite. They'll not grab Breece Hall in free agency and go after Jeremiah Love in the draft. So it's one or the other, and in this case, I'm going to KC. We'll see what happens. Kenneth Walker is up next. He's plain and simple going back to Seattle. I wouldn't have originally said this. Charbonnet was looking good, but then of course tears the ACL. Kenneth Walker been balling out in the playoffs. I think he's like the number 3 or 4 favorite to be the Super Bowl MVP, which is crazy. So I think Kenneth Walker is re-signing with Seattle. We don't really have to talk about it. Now we got Travis Etienne. Now this one's controversial. I had him going to New Orleans, but in this case, it would be a little weird if I had Breece Hall going to Kansas City and then Etienne going to New Orleans, because, well, that would mean, where is Jeremiah Love going? So I think I'm going to have to switch it up with Travis Etienne. And where do I got him going? Well, let me think for a second. To be honest, there's not a ton of teams that I think would sign him to a contract bigger than what Jacksonville will give them. So I think that he stays in Jacksonville and is paired with Trevor Lawrence for the foreseeable future. To be honest, this is not really what I want to happen. I still think there's a chance he goes to New Orleans, but I think the safe pick here is Jacksonville. And now we have the sleeper, which is Tyler Algier. I think that he is going to get a bigger pay than you would think he would get. He's an amazing running back. Let's just be clear. He's very overshadowed by Bijan Robinson in Atlanta. I doubt that he wants to be behind Bijan his entire career. So I think he will move on to another team. And he's one of the most exciting for me because he is a high-level running back. I mean, before Bijan was drafted by Atlanta, everyone was pretty hyped on Tyler Algier out of his rookie season. And we've seen what he's been able to do. He is amazing in the red zone. So I think that this is a sneaky guy to go to Dallas. Dallas wants to build a committee, but they also want to have it more split than Bijan and Tyler Algier. And we all know that Bijan is the number 1 back in that system. So I have both Tyler Algier and Javonte Williams both going to Dallas to form that split backfield. You don't want to rely just on Javonte Williams. I know that he was amazing last year, but he still kind of fiddled out towards the end of the season, and he has that injury history. So grabbing Tyler Algier and making him your RB1A with Javonte your 2A basically, or no, your 1B, that's the right word. I think that is something that Dallas could do, and that's what I got. I got both these guys going to Dallas. And now we have a running back who used to be on Dallas, went to Carolina. We saw him ball for a few games, putting up insane numbers in Carolina and absolutely burying my Chuba Hubbard to the moon take is Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle I have going to Arizona. I didn't change that from what my previous one was. I believe he's going to sign at a place that needs a running back like Arizona, who is not willing to pay for a very expensive guy. He's pretty cheap because he's an older running back who doesn't have like a ton of a huge resume, but I think Arizona is the perfect place for him to pair with Trey Benson as he continues to nurture his injuries that seem to never end. And I mean, Carolina doesn't need him anymore. They have Chuba Hubbard back and healthy, and he is on a big contract. Plus, you guys might not remember, they drafted Jonathan Brooks, who should be back and healthy next season. They don't need 3 running backs. I think they're going with Chuba and Brooks, and Rico Dowdle will find a new home in Arizona. A guy who won't find a new home, though, is Kenneth Gainwell going back to Pittsburgh. If Aaron Rodgers is re-signing, he'll want Gainwell because those guys are like 2 peas in a pod at this point. Gainwell was basically their number 1 wide receiver, so yeah, if he's going back to Pittsburgh, I don't think it's that hard of a decision either. Now we have Rachaad White. Rachaad is a curveball. He could go anywhere. I think he could just chase the bag. But a team that needs a running back, and I think they could use Rachaad White, is Minnesota. Now, Minnesota, they do have Aaron Jones aging out, and they also have Jordan Mason, and let's be honest, last year he wasn't that great. So I think Rachaad White comes in as that receiving back who could also be utilized just in the ground game as well. I think he's a versatile back that Minnesota would want to use, and I think it fits for him, to be real. Now we got J.K. Dobbins, aka J.K. One Leg, and I had a lot of hate. I mean, a lot of hate when I had him going to Green Bay in my prediction. So honestly, these Denver fans convinced me, sure, he'll go back to Denver. I don't want you guys coming after my neck anymore. He's going back to Denver. That's what I have as my prediction. Now we got Najee Harris. I contemplated not even having him on this list because kind of boring. I think he's just kind of a plug and play backup running back at this point, and I don't know where he'll go. Let's throw a curveball and put him in Baltimore. Why not? I think Baltimore needs another running back anyways. Derrick Henry getting old. Keaton Mitchell is kind of just a gadget guy. Put Najee Harris in there. As long as he's got 2 eyes, he should be all right. We got Brian Robinson. I also got him back to San Francisco, but who knows? He could chase a bag. He could get paid more. Maybe he goes back to Washington. Who knows? But Brian Robinson, San Francisco, it's not that crazy of a pick. But now, I think one of the ones that everybody's been waiting for, which is Kyle Pitts, a huge curveball in this free agency market, and one of the biggest names alongside George Pickens. And I have no idea. A lot of people are saying he's going to be tagged and go back to Atlanta, which if he does, I think he will get traded. I don't think he wants to be in Atlanta. He's been wasting away his career there for 5 years. You don't want to be there anymore. The future honestly doesn't look that bright. Michael Penix didn't look that great. Kirk Cousins, I mean, you really want him throwing you the ball forever. Kyle Pitts, I think, might want a change of scenery. So whether that's in free agency or in the trade market, that's what we're going to have to see. I know Stefanski likes his tight ends, which is a reason that Kyle Pitts could stay. I think it's 50-50, honestly, on whether he stays or leaves. So Atlanta wouldn't be surprising if he stays. Let's just be real. But I got a bit of a curveball. This is probably my boldest prediction of anyone on this list, and I think he goes to Tennessee. Brian Daboll looks like he could be landing in Tennessee as the OC. We don't know yet as of this recording, but he likes to utilize the tight end. We saw him do it with Darren Waller, and these are guys who could catch the ball as tight end, and that is exactly what Kyle Pitts is. So I think that Tennessee could use more weapons. Obviously, they don't really have a number one receiver. Shamiri DK and Elike Manor, I love both of them, but they're not prototypical ones, which is why I think Kyle Pitts in Tennessee as the number one receiving option for Cam Ward, who's developing, is honestly a great fit and is my hot take for the free agency market. Let me know what you think down below, though. I want to hear where you think he's going to go. And we got Travis Kelce, easy one. He's either going back to KC or he's retiring. I kind of think he's staying for at least one more year because he's going to want to make it a whole year about himself, and he didn't this year. So he's going to make it his retirement tour or whatever he wants to say. Now we got David Njoku. I got him going to Miami as well. Just more bodies, like I said. Miami needs a decent tight end who can fill the role there. I mean, they were using Greg Dulcich last year. Let's be real. David Njoku would be an upgrade. Dallas Goedert, I have him going back to Philadelphia. I'm not super confident on this one. I think his contract is a little weird, and I think they could be a team who drafts Kenyon Sadiq in the draft, especially where they are in the draft. But it also wouldn't surprise me if Goddard signs like a 1-year deal, stays in Philadelphia, kind of mentors Sadiq if they draft him, and is just there to be kind of that filler role and that mentor. He's another guy, though. I think if he goes somewhere in free agency, his career will kind of irrelevant for the rest of it. I don't think he's going to bounce back to some amazing tight end or something. Cade Otton, another boring one, but I got him going back to Tampa Bay. I think that they as well just need consistency in that receiving core, and Cade Otton has been good at what he's good at. He's just filling his role. Jake Tonges back to San Francisco as well. With Kittle being injured, Tonges, they leaned on more. They seem to like him there. I think he will fetch a higher pay than we think he would, and stay in San Francisco to keep his home there. And lastly, we got Isaiah Likely, a guy who is, again, a bit of a sleeper in my opinion. I think that if he leaves, he could be a pretty good weapon for another team, and I am putting him in New England. I think that Isaiah Likely in New England would pair perfectly to be that additional weapon in the red zone, in the intermediate routes for Drake May, and fill a role that New England desperately needs, which is more guys to catch the ball. They're going to the Super Bowl with Stephon Diggs as their number one receiver. And Hunter Henry, he's been balling too. And as well, my man, Kayshon Boutte. Absolutely love Booty. But I think Isaiah Likely here makes a ton of sense, and I think that honestly could happen. But that is all I got for you. Let me know what your predictions are down below for any of the bigger names here on this list, and absolutely fry me in the comments for what I got wrong. Make sure you subscribe though. I'm dropping content every single week, and I mean, most of you guys aren't subscribed, so do it. Why not? Peace.